The Legend of the Ohio Grassman. Gather round, friends, and let the fire's glow keep the darkness at bay, because tonight I'm telling you a tale that'll make your skin crawl and your ears strain for every rustle in the woods. This is the story of the Ohio Grassman, a creature that haunts the rolling hills and dense forests of Ohio, a shadow that moves unseen but never unfelt. I heard this from my uncle, who swore it happened to him and his buddies back in the summer of '78, when they were young and foolish camping deep in the Cuyahoga Valley. So, pull your blankets tight and listen close, because this is no ordinary campfire yarn. It was late July, and my uncle Tom, along with his friends Mike, Sarah, and Jake, decided to escape the city for a weekend of camping. They'd heard the stories. Everyone in Ohio grows up with whispers of the Grassman, a hulking, ape-like beast said to roam the state's wild places. Some called it a Bigfoot cousin, others a demon born from the earth itself. The locals described it as 7 feet tall, covered in matted grass-like fur that blended with the underbrush, with eyes that glowed like embers and a stench that could choke a skunk. Tom and his crew laughed it off as folklore, the kind of tale old farmers spun to keep kids out of the woods. They were college kids full of bravado, armed with cheap beer and a beat-up tent, ready for adventure. They picked a spot deep in the Cuyahoga Valley, far from the ranger stations, where the trees grew thick and the ground was carpeted with tall grass that swayed like waves in the wind. The first day was perfect, swimming in the river, roasting hot dogs, telling dumb jokes under the stars. But that night, as the fire died down and the moon hung low, things changed. Tom said it started with a smell, faint at first, like wet earth and decay, creeping into the campsite. Sarah wrinkled her nose, thinking an animal had died nearby. Jake, ever the joker, said it was probably Mike's socks. But Tom noticed something else, a stillness. The crickets, the frogs, the night birds, they'd all gone quiet. "Guys," Tom whispered, "you hear that?" "Hear what?" Mike scoffed, cracking another beer. "The sound of you freaking out?" "No, listen. Nothing. There's nothing." They froze, straining their ears. The silence was unnatural, heavy, like the forest was holding its breath. Then, from the darkness beyond the firelight, came a snap, a twig breaking under weight. Not a deer's delicate step, but something heavy, deliberate. Sarah grabbed Tom's arm, her nails digging in. "What was that?" she hissed. "Probably a raccoon," Jake said, but his voice wavered. He stood, shining his flashlight into the trees. The beam cut through the dark, revealing nothing but swaying grass and gnarled branches. Then, the smell grew stronger, thick enough to gag on, and the grass rustled, not with the wind, but with something moving through it, circling the camp. "Stay calm," Tom said, trying to keep his voice steady. "It's just an animal, maybe a bear." "There ain't no bears out here," Mike muttered, his bravado fading. He grabbed a stick from the fire, its end glowing red, and waved it toward the sound. "Hey, get out of here!" The rustling stopped. For a moment, they thought it was gone. Then, from the shadows, came a low, guttural growl, not like a dog, not like anything they'd ever heard. It was deep, primal, vibrating in their chests. Sarah whimpered, backing toward the tent. Jake's flashlight shook in his hand, the beam darting wildly, and then they saw it, just for a second. 2 glowing eyes, red as the fire's embers, staring from the tall grass. They were too high off the ground, too far apart to belong to any coyote or wolf. "Get in the tent!" Tom shouted. They scrambled inside, zipping the flap shut as if canvas could protect them. The smell was overwhelming now, seeping through the fabric, and the growling grew louder, closer. Something brushed against the tent, heavy enough to make the poles creak. Sarah was crying, Jake was cursing,